I think one of the things as well that I recognized from my sugar-free journey is that my parents used sugary treats as reward. So I kid you not, my first steps for walking were to chocolate.
Yeah.
That's how I learned to walk. So, and I'm not blaming my parents for this at all, because I still like chocolate.
Hello and welcome to Sugar Free TV. We are so excited today because we are joined by what we call a kind of pioneer and one of our co-champions of the sugar-free movement in the UK, Alison Beadle. Hi, Alison. How are you?
Hello. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, thank you for joining us. We're so excited today because we're going to be talking about your journey to becoming sugar-free, and you are the founder of Sugar-Free Me. Is that right?
That's right, yes.
You are we want to know all about the work that you've been doing, and of course, just to kind of pick your brains on what you think is going on with sugar and diet and nutrition in this country, because we are in a catastrophe, aren't we, in our in family life, and what that's doing to us. Tell us a little bit about your background and about your story around your business, that we're really interested to know.
Okay, so I am a personal trainer, group exercise instructor, which includes nutrition, and I started my journey back in that about when I was 28, so quite a long time ago now. I stopped eating sugar in 2012. Now, the reason I stopped doing that was because I just felt terrible. So I had really bad kind of low energy, brain fog, constant bloating. My gut I was feeling nauseous all the time. I had terrible skin. And one of those freebie Groupon things was like an allergy test. Then I thought, you know what, let me just do it and see. Because I knew that I've always been intolerant to dairy. I knew that. So, but I was just like, maybe there's something else going on here. And so I did the test, and it showed up that I was intolerant to gluten, dairy, and sugar. But what it also showed up is that I had a very inflamed kind of gut. My whole digestive system was basically leaking. So I was feeling rubbish because, it was all the toxins were going out of my digestive system into my body, which was making me feel rubbish. And I had the wrong balance of bacteria. So I had too much bad stuff and not enough good stuff. So as a result, I felt rubbish. So I did quite a strict thing, and I literally just went cold turkey on and did an elimination diet, which is quite harsh. And I would say if anyone's thinking of doing this, do this with the advice of a nutritional therapist or nutritionist, because you need to support your body. Because when you do this, you have a thing, if you have candida, which is an overgrowth of type bacteria, when you deprive it of all these things, you get a thing called candida die-off, which is like having bad flu. And I literally could not work. I couldn't do my job for 2 weeks. I felt so bad. So you need kind of things like super greens and lots of nutrients and stuff to help eliminate those toxins and balance out your body. So really important if you're going to do this. I mean, I just went a bit hardcore and went, right, let's do it, because I feel so rubbish. I may still feel rubbish for a couple of weeks, but you can do it more gently if you want as well. So I did that, and I basically cut out all refined sugar. I actually cut back on fruits as well, and sugary vegetables like sweet potatoes and peas. So I was quite hardcore. And after a couple of weeks, I started to feel better. The skin started to get better. Kept going with it. Got to about 2 months, and I felt amazing. I started losing weight, and I hadn't been intentionally trying to lose weight. But I was a little bit bored of the way I was eating. I'm not going to lie. I mean, there was hummus and, brown rice cakes and oat cakes and oat bran for breakfast. I was just like, I was bored of it. And I knew that I didn't really want to go back to eating sugar. And I started to bring things back into my diet again eventually after a while. But every time I ate gluten, my stomach would swell up like, the alien where her belly just comes. I can look 3 or 4 months pregnant within half an hour of eating gluten. And it's not so much the look, to be honest, but it's so uncomfortable. Any of those people that are watching this that have a gluten intolerance or a celiac or whatever, it's when your stomach swells up so big, there's nowhere for it to go, and you feel inflamed and you feel like you're going to pop, but you can't, if that makes sense. And so I made the choice not to, carry on eating gluten, and I haven't eaten dairy since my early 20s anyway. And I thought, okay, let me have a look for recipes. And There was nothing. There was lots of gluten-free stuff. Well, there was like the diabetic sugar-free stuff, or there was the dairy-free stuff, but there was nothing that was gluten, dairy, and sugar-free. So I just started trying different recipes and replacing the ingredients with the dairy-free or the gluten-free substitutes, and eventually came up with 2 recipe books worth of recipes, things that I could eat. So it was kind of like normalizing. I don't like to use the word normal because I think the way that we are told is normal eating now is actually highly toxic. And even the new gluten-free products, some of them are so full of rubbish. It's unreal. So people eating gluten-free thinking, you know, all the sugar-free. The other day I saw, and I'm not going to name or shame any because I believe you don't have any positive, don't say it.
Yeah.
But there was one particular company that were advertising some kind of, it was like a pudding. It looked amazing. And I was like, oh, this looks really good. It's no added sugar. And I was like, yay, I've got to try this. And then I messaged them and said, this looks amazing, you know, and it was dairy-free and everything as well, and gluten-free. And I said, what do you use to sweeten? And then the response was, well, we use maple syrup, erythritol, and I think it was dates or something else. And I said, what? It's just one of those products in, you know, in your thing. Do you have like one thing? And she said, no, they're all in the same thing. And I was just like, wow. And I was like, do you know what? That's too much sugar for me. I couldn't, you know, so it's quite interesting because I discovered on my journey that there's a lot of stuff out there that says no added sugar, but actually it's jammed full of dates. So people are choosing these healthy no added sugar flapjacks when they may just have a Kit Kat. It's actually got more sugar in. It's jammed full of dates, rice syrup. That's still sugar. Honey, sugar. Coconut nectar blossom. Yes, it's lower GI, slightly less manufactured, still sugar. So yeah, that's how I came about it basically. And then if I do eat sugar by accident, it just makes me feel so ill. I mean, now I've started to sweeten with fruit a little bit more, but like for those people that would eat a whole banana, I wouldn't. I'd probably eat a quarter at a time, and I would have it with some almond butter or something, so that, you know, my sugar levels don't spike. But yeah, so, and I would never ever have a pulverized fruit smoothie. I'd be in a diabetic coma on the floor. I just literally pass. Yeah. So I'm not diabetic, and I use that just as a phrase.
But they say carb coma. The carb coma. It's a real thing. The carb coma, when you indulge and then you're literally incapacitated on the floor. You can't move and you can't think straight. Yeah, that's normally.
Yeah, no, I used to get that as well. Even it was interesting because even before I stopped eating sugar, I had an ice cream once. It was sweetened with agave. I can't remember how you said. But actually, you know, I honestly wanted to die after eating it. I felt so exhausted and my brain just stopped and I felt nauseous, and it was just the sugar from that. And it was a tiny, tiny pop, but I felt it was just the fructose sugar and there was way too much. I just wanted to lie on the floor. So when I say coma, I do actually mean just like sleep coma, carb coma, as you said, not diabetic, because that's a lot more serious. But yeah, so I mean, that's my journey basically.
Oh my goodness. Well, I echo so many of his sentiments through there, and Candida as an issue as well, having, you know, as a woman, having had that on and off, certainly the cravings for sugar. I always know if there's a craving for sugar, there's definitely too much Candida in my gut. And this is after years and years of, you know, knowing on my side, because my journey to sugar-free living was through my health as well. So, you know, trying it out and then realizing the benefits. There are literally no downsides to cutting out sugar from your diet other than how you feel initially, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that was, I'm not going to lie, that took some endurance. Yeah. It was so worth it. I mean, I dropped a stone in a year.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't the intention, but actually, I mean, now that I'm going through menopause, it's good that I dropped that stone, because it means that would have had an effect on my cholesterol levels and my heart health and stuff as well. So, I mean, it was a win.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear you, sister. We're the same stage of life. And I can certainly say anytime I bring sugar in just a tiny amount, because I would say I'm mostly sugar-free. Occasionally I will indulge in something if I'm out and about with, normally it's at family events, and I just think, and then I know I'm going to feel so bad the next day. And it takes days for it to clear out of my system. If I've had even a small amount, but sometimes I think it's not even worth it. So yeah, I'm getting a lot more proactive in taking my own cakes and things to the event. So
It's Tupperware, that's me.
yeah, there you go. That's right. To take something. But yeah, so tell us about sugar-free meat, and tell us kind of what, the sort of help that you've been, some of that you've been offering, and some of the results that you've seen. Like, tell us a little bit about that, and how you started it, how long you've been doing it, and some of the help that you've been giving your clients and results. Let's see.
Well, I created sugar-free meat probably about a year after. Well, I mean, officially started to be sugar-free meat probably about a year after giving up sugar, because I thought, you know what, I've done all this investment in this stuff. This is a product that we could potentially share with other people like me. And I'd encountered some people like that. So I wrote my books. I did my first book in 2013, I think, and the second one 2015. And on top of that, I have personal training clients. So most of my clients have cut back on sugar or eliminated it, and definitely seen the difference. I created a cut back on sugar 30-day kind of ebook thing as well. So it's available on my website as well, which you can download for free. And it's literally, it isn't just stop eating sugar. It is kind of like, let's look at why you're eating sugar. Are you comfort eating? Is it habit? Is it reward system for you? And rather than just going, right, no sugar straight away, we look at stages. So we look at like, what do you have in your cupboards? Now, I hate wasting stuff. So I'm just like, right, give it to people or eat it, first of all. And then how do we restock your cupboards? How do we make sure that you still enjoy eating? Because at the end of the day, I'm one of these people that I live to eat. Yeah, I like food, and so I think if you're eating something just because you feel you have to, and just because you see it as fuel, I mean, some people are like that, and that's fine. But if, I think it's important to enjoy what you're eating, because you actually get more nutritional value out of it as well. How can you make sure that you are enjoying your food? How can you make sure that you don't fall off the wagon? Because that's the hardest thing, eating out and that kind of thing. So I did that. And then I also created Instagram, Facebook pages. So every time I went somewhere and found something amazing, somewhere really helpful, I share it. If I find a new product, I share it. I will never name and shame people. So if there's something I don't like, I won't slate it. I just won't say anything about it. But I want it to be about positive options. If I meet interesting people that do amazing stuff, I share it. So, and then I always share my little failures and my successes. Like yesterday, it's funny, I found a sugar-free ketchup that I use sometimes. And I was having a bit of a cheat day. I try and cook everything as fresh as possible, but sometimes I have some manufactured stuff. It was a gluten-free battered fish thing. And I had it in some gluten-free bread. And I was trying to do the sexy Instagram shot with the tomato ketchup going down through the video. It said that the tomato ketchup exploded out everywhere and covered the entire kitchen. Like, my other mom came back and said, how did you get that everywhere so much? So just little things like that, funny things. And or like when I've baked and I tried mixing chestnut flour and ginger, does not work. Tastes absolutely disgusting. I'll let you know that now. And if you were trying to if you're trying to use the packet egg replacement with gluten-free flours, does not work because they're both starches. So you just get a starchy lump of goo. Just doesn't work. So, things like... Yeah.
I had the same experiment went wrong at the weekend.
There you go. Yeah, no, now I use flaxseed and water and that works. At the moment, I'm just experimenting with making my books more vegan. Really, because there's so much that, and, my niece actually can't. My niece is anaphylactic, allergic to eggs, nuts and dairy. So I wanted to be able to make cakes that she could eat a bit more as well. So I tried making one of my cupcakes with the flaxseed and water option. And then I used the cyanovinerate and bicarb to give the raising agent. But then I was a little bit short on the fat. And so the cakes came out the oven. I ate them, tasted nice. Left them round outside a client's house in all plastic pots. Said, try these, they're vegan, and you like these. But within 2 hours, they dried out and it sucked all the moisture out of your mouth.
No, it's like one of those little silicone gels you put in clothes and things, and it's so to absorb all the moisture.
Honestly, it was like, even my other half tried it and he said, "You need tea with these, Alison. You need moisture." And then my client who's vegan said, "Try putting some apple sauce in it. That might actually help." So that's what I've been doing. I've also collaborated with SugarWise. So both my books are certified by the SugarWise brand, which means no added sugar or low sugar. And that's globally recognized. They're an amazing organization that I've been linked with. And they've actually given me the opportunity to attend sugar summits at Westminster and the European Parliament, where we all discussed levels of sugar in manufacturing and the future of kind of like sugar and the impact on children and health. And, so it's been a really interesting journey. So I actually had the opportunity as well. At one point, I was selling my couple of sugar-free cakes at Selfridges Food Hall, which I never would have. You said in 2013, Alison, you're going to stop at 2001. You're going to stop eating sugar. And in like 6 years' time, you're going to be selling your product in Selfridges. And I've written some articles as well. So I wrote an article of the World of Food magazine on children and sugar. And also because I'm now a menopause coach as life has evolved, so I followed it. And I'm adamant that, if you cut your sugar back before you hit menopause or even during menopause, it's going to make such a difference, for your heart health, for your hormone levels, for the level of symptoms that you experience, brain fog, the whole lot. Sugar is so key to it. So yeah, I've kind of dabbled in lots of things, I suppose.
No, exciting. I mean, I want to, I just want to celebrate you basically on your journey, because that is just amazing. And there is just never a time that it's too early to stop eating sugar when you see the benefits of it, right?
Absolutely. Never. It's never too late. And the people that I know that have stopped eating sugar, like I've got one client who now, if she eats sugar occasionally, she'll be like, "Alison, I felt terrible. I felt really bad." And then I have another client who is menopausal, and she was getting really bad anxiety, palpitations and heart flutters. And she cut back on her sugar, and because she was at the point where they were kind of saying, "Oh, you could have thyroid issues." As she cut back on her sugar, and it all stopped. That it was just, the sugar is a stimulant, isn't it? It's like having caffeine. It's like having high levels of tannin. I have 1 cup of caffeinated tea a day, and that's it. But if I was to have caffeine or even 100% chocolate, that will just send me, it will either give me super, super energy. And if you're in my class, you will die because it will be so hard. It will make me anxious and jittery. So it just shows the effect of sugar as a stimulant, because people just don't think about that. And also when you're consuming food, which is mass produced and manufactured, and everything has sugar in, then you are, even if you think, "Oh, I don't have sugar in my tea, I don't eat lots of cake." Well, you eat every breakfast cereal has sugar in it. Pretty much every breakfast cereal has sugar in it.
Talking about that, actually, my son started having porridge, and he had started to have zucker on his porridge, and he found that he wasn't getting brain fog at school and was able to concentrate better in the classes. And that was a massive change, because previously, lots of golden syrup, and then was having a sugar high, then a sugar low.
Yeah.
But of course, it's very hard to understand if children are being blamed for not concentrating. Actually, there could be something else in that nutrition and not fueling properly, and then having that sugar high and sugar low. So it's across the spectrum, isn't it? But because
absolutely. I do teen yoga, so I do yoga. So at one point, I was working with kids from the age of 9 to 12, and they were elite swimmers. And so they would do their swimming, and then they would come and do stretch classes with me too, because a lot of the elite swimmers have incredibly tight fronts of bodies, wing scapula in the back where their shoulder blades stick backwards from the position of front crawl, or freestyle as they call it, and very tight hamstrings. Yeah. So they brought me in to do that with them. And I think one week it was somebody's birthday, and one of the parents had given them all cookies. So they'd done their hour swim, and then they all had these high sugar cookies, and they came into class, and I had 15 kids on a sugar high. And it was an absolute nightmare. And I literally had to write to the parents and say, please do not give your kids sugar before the class. Interestingly, one of the kids managed to get hold of a caffeinated high sugar energy drink before class once. And one of his class members actually grassed him up, which was good. They were just like, oh, he's had this. And I was just like, can I have that, please? And he said, no, because you'll take it off me. And I said, well, let me look at it. And I looked at it and it said, not suitable for children. And it was something that even I would suggest adults take. And so I said, I'm sorry, I'm not giving this back to you. Your parents would not want me to allow you to drink this. You can go and get a yogurt drink, which has got fats and sugar in, so you can absorb it if you want something sweeter, or you can have water. But you are not to have the rest of this. I'm sorry, you can't have it. And then, interestingly, because he then went obviously hyper and his pupils were really dilated. So we all had a look at his eyes, like, look at his eyes. This is what happens when you have high sugar and caffeine. And he was like, oh. And then within half an hour, he was feeling nauseous, had a stinking headache and felt terrible. And then I explained to the kids, this is what happens. So it was a valuable life lesson as well. And hopefully they never hit the caffeine drinks again.
Oh, indeed. Well, I mean, the thing is with sugar, it's like something like 6 times more addictive than crack cocaine when it hits your brain. You know, I mean, we're giving this to our children from the time that they're babies. You know, when I say we, say society, but people are just not thinking about the addictive qualities of sugar as well, are they?
Oh, and even dental health. Dental. I mean, so I have. I know some of bless them that their kids weren't good at breakfast. So she thought she was doing a great job of giving like a cereal bar, and one of those healthy breakfast cereal bars, and an orange juice. So she got some vitamin C and she got some fiber and stuff. But actually, they're both quite high sugar, and so her child had cavities, and then the dentists refused to do the filling until they'd spoken to her and said, "Why does your child have cavities?" And she was proper sugar shamed, and it frustrates me immensely when you have companies that are saying, have this healthy breakfast drink, have this healthy breakfast bar. If you can't eat breakfast, have this, it's good for you. When actually, no, it's not. And if you're starting children on that principle, if you're educating, if you're saying, the adverts on the TV all the time, don't have breakfast, have a bar. It's just, and the kids will see it and they will pick up on it. And then I'm not going to name the name, but there's an awful energy drink out at the moment as well, which is really trendy and everybody wants to drink it now. And you have kids wanting to drink. I went to the Crystal Maze experience recently in London, and there was a group of kids coming in before us, and they all had the hideous drink. And you could hear them going round the Crystal Maze from the section, and the people that were running it, I was like, I feel so sorry for you. And they were just like, they were ready to go home after that party.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I mean, yeah. I mean, I managed to, with my little one's birthday party, I wouldn't say it was 100% sugar-free, but we managed to make a big sugar-free cake. And the parents came in and ate it, and nobody knew it was sugar-free, which was I thought that was a win. That's a win right there. So we made that, and I just thought, yeah, this, it is possible. We have all the amazing ingredients and options out there now to still have those treats without the sugar, without the toxic food inside. So I thought that was a win. So there's absolutely no reason for children not to have treats, as if there are, entrepreneurial businesses and pioneers like yourself and like all the other amazing people that we're meeting on this sugar-free TV journey that are so committed to providing solutions that don't have sugar. We don't need sugar anymore, do we?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think one of the things as well that I recognized from my sugar-free journey is that my parents used sugary treats as a reward. So I kid you not, my first steps for walking were to chocolate.
Yeah.
That's how I learned to walk. So, and I'm not blaming my parents for this at all, because I still like chocolate. And I'm not like the chocolate, I'm not like the sweet sugar, and I think it's nice to have sweet stuff. That's why I wrote my 2 recipe books. But at the same time, I've learned that sometimes a reward for me might be I get myself a new book, or I have a nice bath, or I go for a walk, or I do something that I enjoy. And I think, with children as well, I think it's important to have an alternative reward system, if you like. It's funny, my mum still very much is like, she can't get over the concept that you have dinner and you have pudding. And so every time I say it, she's like, "What are you having for pudding, Alison?" "I don't want any pudding, thanks." She's like, "But you can't, you've got to have pudding." No, honestly, I don't have to have pudding. And she said, "Can you have some fruit then? Maybe some fruit and custard." Honestly, I don't want pudding. I'm not used to having pudding. I eat cake probably about once a month, if I'm honest. Yes. And if I have cake, I have to make it. There are a couple of places that I can get cake, like Romo's Sugar-Free Bakery, who honestly made the best. I went to his year anniversary party once, and he got all the sugar-free people together. The Rend Plattings from Sugar Wise was there, Sugar-Free London, I met her there. And he made this, he made gluten-free, dairy-free cheesecake, sugar-free cheesecake. And it was so amazing. Every time I was like, "Are you sure there's nothing in here?" I asked him like 5 times, and he said, "Alison, honestly, you can eat it. You're fine." And it was just mind-blowing. So yeah, there's a Free-From Bakehouse in London Bridge where they sell stuff, which is quite good. There's a little market there nearby Oval train station, and there's a guy that does sugar-free cake there. And my other half bought me some purple yam cake from there the other week.
Amazing. Yeah, there's so many solutions out there. So I know you said that you went to a sugar-free summit. That sounds really, really interesting. Tell us about that, and who was there and what was going on.
So it's set up, it's organised by Rend Plattings and Sugar Wise. And she's done a few now. They've been at Westminster. There was, I can't remember his name, my brain is useless sometimes with menopause. It is a while back now, but anyway, he was an MP who was also diabetic. So he was kind of heading up the focus group on sugar, basically. And we had various parliamentary members. We had people from the sugar industry. We had people from I think Jamie Oliver had people there because he's gone into schools and been educating kids on. We had some people from cancer charities who have, again, are very much into the sugar-free thing as well. So we had lots of people from different segments talking about sugar. And admittedly, there are some people there that are just selling their sugar-free products and alternatives, which is fair enough, But we talked about things like the levels of sugar in manufactured foods and how, as manufacturers, they can get away from that. And it was quite interesting at one point. I think I'd listened to several people talking about their products. And then they said, "Did anyone else have anything to say?" And I was like, "Well, actually, I think it's great that you have this. But as a whole, we are nurturing the sweet tooth thing." And so, yes, people are going to be having sugar-free fizzy drinks. But at the same time, you're still saying you still need the sweet stuff.
That's right.
Actually, when you cut back on sugar, you don't, like when I stopped eating sugar completely, I could taste the sweetness in almonds. And they say that your sense of smell affects your taste as well. Now, I can smell an so simple golden syrup 50 meters away.
Yeah.
Or if somebody even has a body cream on that is sweet now, I can smell it. And it's almost, I've not smoked, but they say when you stop smoking, your sense of taste heightens. And my sense of taste is definitely heightened. So my recipes that I made, my sugar-free recipes, like from 2012, if I now make them now with the same quality of xylitol, which is I use, or erythritol, then it's actually too sweet. I need to take it down. So yeah, that's what we had with the summit. The other interesting thing is we actually had the sugar industry there. In the European Parliament was really interesting because we had so many people that we also had the sugar industry. What was quite exciting is we were all these little desks with your microphone that you have to press the button on. We were actually like in European Parliament, which is super cool. But again, we spoke about sugar in manufacturing and how you could, a lot of people were saying, well, the public are dictating that they want this, and we take this out. but then people won't buy our product. And it's actually, well, give it a try, see. And also you think about, it was, the sugar industry were obviously quite upset being at these meetings and tried to kind of rubbish things. But we also looked at the health aspect. So we looked at the dental health because of sugar. We looked at sugar addiction. I met some really interesting people that run addiction clinics that deal with people with sugar addiction. We looked at sugar and the effect on mental health, not just in children, as we've spoken about, but also in adults as well. I've already mentioned about, I had somebody who was jittery and anxious. And again, if I ate sugar as well, I think that would make me feel quite jittery and anxious as well. So we had like medical professionals and cancer specialists, and it was just really nice to hear everybody coming together talking about, how we can tackle things. And to be fair, SugarWise has now introduced the industry a global standard, which is being taken up by people, which is fantastic. So now you can, and there's quite a few quite big brands, and now they've started moving into schools as well. So you can have your school certified as SugarWise. And actually, interestingly, I was in a school hall somewhere the other day, and there was a whole board dedicated to like cutting back on sugar and not. So it's getting out there now. But it's been a really interesting thing to be part of. I mean, when COVID hit, obviously that got canned, and it's taking a while to kind of get back up again. But I mean, it's definitely, when the first time we did it, it was in a tiny little room, and it was for the screening of that sugar film. Yes, sorry. I hope you can't hear that. Somebody's drilling in the flat below. But there's it was a screening of that. So we actually watched that, which if you haven't watched it and you want to learn about sugar, watch it, because it'll put your sugar for life. And I couldn't actually watch the dental health bit about Mountain Dew.
It's awful, yeah. So bad.
It was soul destroying. And then we all discussed stuff there, and it was kind of a small room. And then the second time we had a much bigger room, and there were so many more people. And then we went to European Parliament. It was even bigger still, and we had people coming from the Netherlands and from Greece, and we had a speaker from the States. And so it was, it's amazing to see how the kind of healthy looking after your sugar levels movement has just expanded. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that's really interesting to me is that we've been interviewing some amazing people, haven't we? And I mean, there's such a link in the food industry. I didn't realize that there was such a link to the tobacco industry. The tailing off of the tobacco industries, as they saw the threat, started investing in the food industries, knowing the exact formula to keep people addicted to foods, or to create addictions where people will be addicted for life. And that correlates also with the increase in the kind of processed foods, because the money's been going into investing in these addictive processed foods. And when you start seeing it, it's just mind-blowing, isn't it? The influence of these industries on our health. It's just it's mind-blowing, but also when you start to get into it, very frustrating as well, and you want to do something about it. So if people are listening to this, because it's just been brilliant speaking to you, but what sort of tips would you have for them if they're thinking about starting on a sugar-free journey, a bit of inspiration, a bit of motivation, and maybe some action points to get started?
First thing I would say is do it gradually, because with anything, if you try it and just do a million things at one time, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. So, do it gradually. Start by maybe thinking, this week I'm going to get rid of all the processed foods out of my cupboards. I'm going to stop buying chocolate, because I'll put my hand up. I like sugar-free chocolate. There is some good sugar-free chocolate out there. But if it's in my cupboard, I will eat it.
Me too.
So I limit myself to smaller bars, and maybe once a month, because obviously, again, sugar, whilst it's sugar-free, it's still high fat. And going through menopause, I have to look after my cholesterol levels as well. So it's another thing to think about as we get older. And actually, that's an important fact, that if, cholesterol levels aren't just increased by fat, they're increased by sugar.
Okay.
That if you have a high sugar diet, that will actually spike your cholesterol as well. I think that's really important because people just think cholesterol, avocados, fat, not eating this, but actually it's sugar does that as well. So the first thing I would probably say is take it gradually. And then my Cut Back on Sugar ebook will help you do that as well. The second thing is to look at just, it's not just cutting back on sugar, it's looking at why you're eating the sugar. Most of us, sugar is addictive. You will get withdrawal symptoms. And the biggest thing I would say is distract yourself with the withdrawal. Okay, so my distraction technique, this is a bit boring. You might find it more interesting. But I would just sort of cupboard it out.
Okay.
I got a really clean house by the end of it, to be honest.
That's over to mine. That would be great.
Do something that just really absorbs you.
Mm.
So it might be, right, go for a walk. Take yourself away from the opportunity. Don't take your wallet, yeah? So you can't go and buy anything. If you know you're going out and you're going to have a couple of drinks, I don't drink now because, again, for me, that's fermented and it's sugar. And actually, my body hates alcohol now. I think I'd be sick on half a glass of wine. I don't even want to touch it. But if you were going to go out and you know that you're going to get the munchies and you're going to come back and you're just going to load up on all the bad sugary stuff and you don't want to go through that journey, because you can get sugar-free kind of drinks now and low things like that is possible, then, maybe have some food prepped. If you know you've got a busy day and you're going to be too tired to do something healthy, have your food prepped. And that way you're in a full wagon. If you're going to a restaurant and you don't want to watch everybody eating pudding, because I've done that and it's boring. You have a decaf coffee or something, or a nice, drink, or I take a little tub of Tupperware and I take my own sugar-free cake.
Yeah.
And I always ask them at first, because some restaurants are a little bit funny about that. But if you just say, look, I'm intolerant, I can't eat this, then generally they're quite nice. Some of them will even bring it out on a plate to you so it looks like you've actually got something. I've done that at work dues before when I don't want everyone going, oh, you can't eat sugar, why's that? And you just feel like the odd one out. So yeah, be prepared and know why you're having the sugar. So as I've already mentioned, for me, sugar was a reward as well. It was part of my reward system. Now my reward system is like, oh, okay, I'm going to have a facial.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
Or
Okay.
I'm going to have a nana nap in the hammock in my garden. Or I don't know, I'm going, or I watch, like, there's a favourite TV programme that, I'm quite busy and I'd like, I'm going to watch it in the afternoon. And so, just choose something that feels nice for you, that, so your reward isn't just sugar.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's great advice. And also for women of our age group that are, are thinking of embarking on a sugar-free journey and how that might help them through menopause and through, this amazing part of our life. But it's certainly, you can never start this journey too early, can you? And it's never too late either.
Oh, no, absolutely. Always. I just think, I've heard people say, I'm this age now. I've only probably got about this many years left. So I may as well just enjoy myself and just eat everything. And I'm like, well, how about you look at it this way? That you could have this many years left if you looked after yourself a little bit better. And then think of all those amazing other things you could enjoy other than just the sugary food.
Exactly. Yeah, we can agree more. It's been so enlightening. We can't wait to actually get to meet you in person too. Fantastic. Are there any kind of closing points, any last bits that you wanted to say to people? And obviously we're going to provide a link to some of your resources and books. Any final words you wanted to leave us with?
I think the first thing is you can do it. It is possible. I was a sugar addict. I learned to walk following chocolate. And my friend and I used to spend every Friday afternoon eating cake. It was like religion. I ate a lot and had breakfast with like porridge, syrup, and a fruit smoothie. And I go, well, I'm a fitness instructor, so I can burn all those calories off. Actually, no, you can't. You can't do that. So the first thing is, if I can do it, anyone can, yeah? And then the second thing I would probably say is if you're doing the sugar-free journey, check your labels. Check your labels. Look at, learn the names of all the different types of sugar. So dextrose, fructose, corn syrup, rice syrup, agave, maple syrup, honey. There is so many different names for sugar, and the sugar manufacturers have got very sneaky now. So they don't put sugar anymore, but they'll be like maltose. And so you'll look at the label and you'll see maltose, rice syrup, dates, and something, and it'll say no added sugar. And you're like, actually, dates, yes, they're fruit. A lot of vegan food has it in. Highest GI glycemic index of all fruits. So, whilst it's a natural sugar and it contains fiber and there are nutrients and vitamins in, yes. But if you're eating lots of them, then, it is still sugar at the end of the day, and too much of anything is not great for you. So that would be my 2 key things.
And it is actually sneaking it in as well, because I was appalled the other day. I wanted a pack of nuts. I was in the supermarket and I thought, oh, these nuts look quite good. This is a healthy lunchtime snack. Turned it over. Oh, yeah, we've added 7 grams of sugar to the packet of nuts.
It's supposed to be one of these kind of healthier brands.
Yeah,
I didn't want to name, didn't want to name, but it was a healthier brand that you associate with a healthy snack.
Yeah.
And, kind of a newer brand as well that you associate with a healthy snack. I wouldn't have looked twice. And it's 7 grams. No, and it's just everywhere. It's everywhere. So, thank you so much for joining us. What an inspiration. And thank you for motivating us all that it is actually doable and achievable.
Yeah.
And never too early, never too late to give this a go.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming on Sugar Free TV. And we hope that you'll come back.
Yes.
To continue.
I'd love to. And I'd also like to, I'd love to learn a bit more about you guys as well, because, that's like we've all had very interesting journeys and stuff. Yeah. I still think we have journeys to continue too.
Fantastic.
And actually, as a group, as you were saying earlier on, as a group of people, we're all pushing in the same direction, even though we're at a slightly different angles from it. It is creating that thing, and that strength as a collaboration will be something that will then change the government as well. Because, and I know we talked about Jamie Oliver, and he was outside Parliament because there was that U-turn that the government did. They announced about a year ago, didn't they, about the advertising at 9 o'clock, and then they decided, we won't do that now. We got to change our mind. And so there was a big event around that. But of course, again, as individuals, we're not as strong as we would be collectively. So that's how we need to.
Absolutely. So much work to be done. Yeah. So much work to be done. Thank you so much, Alison, and we look forward to having you back on Sugar Free TV in the future and meeting you in person for collaborations and, all of the campaigning that needs to be done around this very important subject. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Brilliant.